Hey, this is John from Distress Mullet, and we have a lot of stuff coming up for this week. We've got articles on the mullet that include a California man that died after he stepped off his stand-up paddleboard and apparently couldn't swim. So it has started this insane debate online on Facebook in comments about why people who can't swim get on paddleboards and go out. And there have been a lot of real passionate arguments. A lot of people have been kind of very honest about it, some very mean about it, some actually uh, have said people that don't know how to swim should never paddleboard. Others have blamed the rental companies. What we do know is that the person could not swim, uh, did not have a leash, was not wearing a life vest. So when they fell off their board, nobody could get to them in time, and this 39-year-old Dennis Bowman died, and it's a real tragedy. Now, what we don't know is whether or not he was offered a leash, offered a PFD. I've been told by friends who have rental companies that it is extremely common for people to lie. I've also known from people who give lessons, certified instructors, people lie about being able to swim all the time. They overestimate their abilities if they are weak swimmers, and also when they fall in conditions that are difficult for even experienced swimmers, they're beyond the pun in over their heads. So um, I'm not quick to jump to demonize all the rental companies, but I can say that the more that rental companies require people to wear leashes, that they require people to wear vests, and this is from the rental companies, this isn't a law. This is the more that they do that, the safer that people will be, because right now they're watching Rob Lowe paddling on a paddleboard above great whites without a leash or a PFD or any of those things. Apparently, he was on a foil board too, so that's kind of double or triple complicated. But anyway, they don't think there's a problem. They think they're safe as long as they're near the board. They don't realize when they fall, the board shoots away from them. And there's not a lot of really good education going on the point of purchase in the big box stores, and also the rental companies that are just sort of popping up as they have for years. There are some amazing rental companies and amazing instructors that are doing their best. One part of the argument that I kind of took exception to is the idea of that people who can't swim should never try paddleboarding. And in a vacuum, that doesn't make sense. If you have somebody that wears a life vest, has a leash, is being given instruction, is with somebody else, the conditions are good. Again, these are like in a vacuum. This is the perfect world. It's great. It's a perfect way to introduce somebody to the sport. And as I was reminded today that when we have a child learning to walk, we don't encourage them to stay on their stomachs on the ground just because we're afraid they're going to fall. We make them walk around in an environment that's conducive to their learning, and we encourage them to try. And paddleboarding can be an amazing gateway for people who either have never considered swimming, never wanted to swim, never wanted to be near the water, to do so. So all of a sudden we make paddle people, people that care about our water supply, people who care about our playground, and we have more proponents on our side. So I think it's a really good idea to introduce people, whether they're strong swimmers or not swimmers, to paddleboarding, as long as the correct safety precautions are taken. Now, in the real world, we're always going to have people that won't take those precautions, won't listen, will lie, and again, personal responsibility. They've taken their life in their own hands, and unfortunately, there are going to be a lot of people that lose in that scenario, and it's horrible. Um, but again, we're seeing more and more of them every summer. But we're also seeing it on kayaks. We're seeing it on all sorts of flotation devices because you can buy them for cheap at your local, grocery store. They have pop-out boards, plastics, pool toys, and they make it they kind of imply that it's all just one big pool toy and you don't have to worry about it. So moving on. Just wanted to congratulate the yesterday the Gorge Downwind Championships. The surf ski results are in, and Kenny Rice, Sean Rice, and Jasper Moki came in 1, 2, 3. Mocha. And in the women's, congratulations to our paddle monster coach, Tennille Hatton. The top surf ski women were Rachel Clark, Tennille Hatton, and Haley Nixon. Great job out there, and Coach Hatton, again, great performance. Can't wait to hear more about it. And then there's a lot more that we have to talk about because there's a ton of stuff on the site. First of all, classifieds. I don't know what the hell's going on, but there are more people buying more boards, and it's kind of blowing my mind. And the hottest things on there right now or any kind of used OC. There was a Pua Kea Yukai that went up and went down within 24 hours and sold just right away. I've seen a bunch of surf skis go, used surf skis are going, and then your standard boards, your Bark Dominators, your Candace Appleby Surf Tech, any of these like beginner entry level racing touring boards are flying. So thanks for everybody who's supporting the site. Remember, when you're selling a $2,000 board, throw a featured listing in there for $25. It's a bargain, and it helps me keep these going because they're free. We're developing an app right now to try and help people list them, but for the most part, I have to manually go in. We get about 10 people that sign up a day, and I look at the questions and I decide whether or not they would be good people to buy or sell from. And I get out of 10 a day in a week, I get about 7 a week that look like they're either people that are just really bad people, or they're bots, or they're scammers. So I usually wait. If someone really cares and they haven't been approved, they'll email me, and I know that even though I was borderline with them, they're actually seem like they're conscientious and real people, so I let them go through. So sorry if it takes a day for me to approve you, but it's free. Deal with it. It's not sortable. Deal with it. It's simple, but it works, and everybody seems to be selling boards and buying boards at a discount, which means more people in the water, more people upgrading. I'm really stoked about that. So now as far as this week goes, we've had a lot of really great articles beyond the California tragedy. And it's one by Lisa Shell talking about the two gorges, Tennessee River Gorge and the Columbia River Gorge, and just how different these worlds are. We've got a interview with our correspondent Jules, who's out there for her first championships on, I think she's on an Epic V10 Sport, and she completed that this week. So Lisa interviewed her. And then we got the craziest video that I've seen in a long time. And there's a two-man surf ski in South Africa, and these guys reached almost 70 kilometers per hour in a cyclone swell. It was just absolutely nuts. Got another video of V1 outrigger paddling off of Kauai. There's a new starboard line from Sony Hunshide that's really cool. The artwork is beautiful. I mean, they're just beautiful boards. And then part 2 of our summer reading list. So check out the books. Some really good suggestions. I've read about maybe 6 of the 10 on the list, so at least I know what to go get from the store or onto my Kindle. If you look at the CHUM newsletter today, you can get it. Try Paddle Monster for 10 days on the basic plan. So you can see there's hundreds of videos, and you can check it out. We're about to launch a new forum on there and a couple other features. We just keep building onto it, and it's still growing. And again, you can train with Larry Kane, Travis Grant, Tennille Hatton. Chris Chapman is our Olympic strength coach. I mean, if you want to get better at paddling and compete, you're not going to find better coaches. So really, Olympic champions, world champions. I mean, we've got it, and it's for the price of basically a nice dinner for 2 each month. And you've got an actual coach that does a program and adapts it for you. We've got Awabi coming up in 3 weeks, the New York race in 2 weeks. We've got a couple of archived articles up there, including how to take care of your outrigger canoe. I crushed my Ama and had to have it rebuilt for just under the cost of buying a new one. There's also some basic fundamental technique videos, like pulling yourself past the paddle and getting that concept in your head, because like Jimmy Terrell always says, the board's narrow and made to slide through the water, and the paddle's flat and made to stick. So you're not pulling the paddle through the water, you're pulling the board past the paddle. And then we have just a couple of tips on how to get that hydration cooler. It's super hot out there. A heads up on September 9th, the Space Coast Paddle Fest down in Cocoa Beach, and that's following Surf Expo. It's going to be really cool. We've got the Surf to Sound to Suds challenge coming up, and that is in November in Wrightsville Beach. Make sure to block out your rooms at the Blockade Runner. The whole weekend is changed. We've dropped the prices on all of the races, made things a lot simpler, and it's going to be a blast. We're going to have basically a boat championship, other courses, really good time. As far as the featured classifieds go, we've got a Boardworks Eradicator that is $16.90 in San Diego, a Infinity Whiplash, and actually that's a 12.6 by 24, really good for a smaller paddler or a female paddler. That's $1,500 in Virginia Beach. And then there's a first generation Epic V10 Sport surf ski, which is $950 in South Carolina. And honestly, if you want to get into surf ski paddling and try, I mean, that's a great deal. For under $1,000, you're getting a boat that's going to fly. So, I mean, there's tons of other listings. I do want to just mention the Great Peconic Race around Shelter Island also on September 9th. They support the Mullet. Anybody in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts area, head over there. It's an amazing race, and really great people. They got beach party, live music, raffles, beer. I mean, they got everything. So so thanks for your time. Thanks for your support. We do what we do with very little resources. So support our sponsors and anyone who advertises on site. Click and buy from them. Otherwise, we can't bring you cool stuff. And have a very safe weekend. If you see anybody out there without a leash or a PFD, I would go ahead and suck it up and maybe take some stink eye, but loan them a leash. Let them know that they might not be in a safe place. Say something, because the worst thing that can happen is they give you bad luck. So who cares? And I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody in New York in 2 weeks. I can't wait to paddle under the Brooklyn Bridge and George Washington Bridge, and it's going to be a phenomenal weekend. Join Paddle Monster. Be nice when you apply to the classifieds, because it does take me 24 hours to approve you. And again, have a great weekend.